Hello once again, Star Wars and Unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba, and today I have something I'm extremely excited to share. These are items that I picked up on a recent outing to a local comic book store, okay? In our state, they have started allowing businesses, smaller businesses to open with, social distancing measures, everyone wearing face covers, all that stuff. So I felt that this was a very important time to support the small businesses, okay? I mean, we all know that the Walmarts and the Targets and the big box retailers have stayed open throughout. Most of them have stayed open throughout this pandemic, and therefore haven't really, in fact, they've probably taken up more of the business than the smaller businesses that have been forced to close, some of them temporarily, and sadly, some of them permanently. And one of those, I guess you could say, victims from the economic crisis of a pandemic would be very small stores like comic book and collectible stores, okay? So I encourage you to look into your town and find anywhere you can where there is a comic book dealer that, that generally has collectibles as well. And I do encourage you to go out and to, make a purchase here and there. Obviously keeping yourself safe. If you don't feel comfortable going out, I totally understand that. I was wearing face coverings, and there was only me and the store owner. We kept our 6 feet apart. They had a plexiglass shield at the counter, so it was very safe. I felt very, very safe there. And I think a lot of places, whether it be comic book shops or any small business, are really going to be in desperate need of people to come into their stores and make purchases if they're going to stay around. So I would encourage you to do that. So I went to a local comic book store, and I was able to track down, I shouldn't say track down, in fact, to be honest with you, I stumbled across, because these two items I did not even know existed. Now, there's going to be a solid, what I guess you could say is a go with me here when you see what these items are. So why don't I guess it's not really, it's a partial unboxing and a partial unbagging. So why don't I unbag them, and then you can see what I'm talking about. There's one. And there's the other. Now, you're probably looking at this saying, I don't recognize those characters from a Star Wars movie. And some of you may even say, if you're closer to my age, may even say, wait a second. I recognize them from something else that's not Star Wars. I recognize them from an old Disney movie. And you would be right. These are characters from the Disney movie, The Black Hole. Okay, Walt Disney Pictures, The Black Hole. This is Vincent and Bob, okay, and Maximilian, okay. Now, I came across these figures, and I was like totally blown away that these figures were created, and they're fairly recent. I think the year is they're Diamond Select Toys, and it's from 2019. So these are very recent releases. And I am not a collector of toys that are not Star Wars. So why am I getting these? Well, for one, there's two reasons for this. Okay, the lesser reason is that I wanted to patronize the store, and they didn't really have any Star Wars related items that I didn't either already have, or maybe were a little too expensive. I needed to find something kind of within a moderate price range. So that was kind of the latter, or like the secondary reason. The primary reason is that for my whole life, I felt that the Black Hole was almost like a second cousin to Star Wars. Now, just to give you a little tidbit here, a little history, if you will. Okay, when Star Wars came out in 1977, it was a science fiction fantasy, I guess you could say, that no one thought would be any good. Everybody just dismissed it. There was nothing going on at the time in that whole decade that even came close to the kind of imagery that Star Wars was putting out there. Everything we had up to that had been like very gritty, anti-hero cop films, and Planet of the Apes kind of, apocalyptic sci-fi. So it just, everything was very dark and menacing. And even though there was a lot of darkness in Star Wars, there was also a lot of hope and a lot of upliftingness and a lot of really cool production design that really blew everybody away. And right after Star Wars came out, and everybody saw how successful it was. All the other movie studios were like, oh my God, did you see this? We got to get something out there. Oh my God, we got to get something going. Well, then every other studio, just put the brakes on anything else and just went total sci-fi, bought into sci-fi. Big, huge studios and little tiny, B-movie studios as well. There's a ton of Star Wars ripoffs. Look for sci-fi. If you watch Mystery Science Theater 3000, look that one up if you don't know what that is, where they kind of riff on old B-movies. Look at ones that came out in the late 70s, 77, well, probably 78, 79, 80, 81. Oh my God, there are a ton of Star Wars ripoffs, and many of them are a laugh, but there were some that weren't really meant to be Star Wars ripoffs. They were just meant to be science fiction, kind of trying to ride the wave of the success of that sci-fi fantasy genre that is Star Wars. The two biggest ones that come to mind are Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which is Paramount, and Walt Disney Pictures' The Black Hole. Okay? Now, both movies, make no mistake, both movies did not do quite as well as Star Wars. All right? Although I think they've both kind of maintained a cult following since the initial releases of the movies. But I will say that, some other ones that came out around that time were Battlestar Galactica, which was kind of, I think it was released as a film, and then it was a TV show, really. Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, which was also a film, then in some places, and then it was also a TV series. It was kind of like they released it in some theaters, a few episodes, something like that. But as a child of the 70s, I really, everything kind of melded together. So when I saw that there were Star Wars action figures, I went, oh, this is cool. Then I saw that there were Black Hole action figures, and I thought, oh, that's great. They could, I wanted to get those so they could, interact with my Star Wars figures. Well, my parents were not fools. They did buy a lot of toys, for Christmas and birthdays and stuff, but when the Black Hole came out and the figures came out, it was nowhere near birthday, nowhere near Christmas, and they just didn't, they knew it wasn't Star Wars, and they were like, no, well, let's get some more Star Wars figures. So it just didn't happen. So I never really got any. I think I might have gotten one or two action figures, and they weren't made the same way. They weren't quite the same size. So it just, the interest never was there after that. But now when I look back on it, I kind of feel like these could be, particularly the droids, particularly the robots, Vincent, Bob, and Maximilian. These guys, to me, kind of feel like they could fit in the Star Wars universe. So I really like to have these and actually add them to the collection. Put them, maybe I'll hide them in there somewhere and see if any really savvy, knowledgeable collectors or fans of Star Wars will walk through the collection and be like, wait a second, what's that? Now, if you watch my episodes, you'll know that every so often I do throw in some non-Star Wars collectibles. I'm a big fan of the original Adam West, Burt Ward Batman 1966 TV series, and they recently came out with some action figures, some 3 3/4 inch, so I picked up a few of those. And I am a Star Trek fan, although I don't really have any Star Trek collectibles. Every now and then a Star Trek item might find its way in the collection as well. But let's get back to this. So we've got Maximilian. Maximilian is the villain, okay? We'll talk about Maximilian first. The USS Cygnus is perched precariously at the edge of a black hole, the vast, empty nothingness where space and time end. Anything that crosses its border enters a universe of the complete unknown, a story of robots and humanoids, human genius and madness, and a spectacular descent into nature's ultimate mystery, the black hole. The action figure of Maximilian from the black hole features multiple points of articulation and interchangeable accessories, as well as a Cygnus diorama designed by Yuri Tming, sculpted by Gentle Giant Studios. So there you go, Gentle Giant. We are a frequent patron of Gentle Giant in some of their items. All right, so why don't we start with this one? Now, lots of new, or I should say lots of retro toys are finding their way back. Oh, this is cool. Like a nice little diorama thing. I see what they mean by that. That's nice. Lots of new, vintage movies and TV shows are starting to find themselves. Oh boy, they're starting to find themselves. The subject matter for new toys, and I think that that's awesome. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. I don't collect them all, but I do think that every so often ones come out that I go, that's pretty cool. Now, of course, this is a little bit challenging because it has multiple as I said, multiple points of articulation. Now, I will say this. If you've seen the movie, okay, I will tell you, the movie is very interesting. And I say that in kind of a way, sort of saying it's interesting in that you can tell that they were trying to do something unique. They were trying to do something that was, not quite Star Wars, but had a lot of the same DNA as Star Wars. The story is kind of odd, and I will tell you that at the end of it, the ending is just bizarre. I am nearly 50 years old, and I have not figured out yet this ending. That's how bizarre it is. So it featured some very great actors at the time. They're great actors their whole life, like Ernest Borgnine, who was an Oscar-winning actor, played one of the characters. Anthony Perkins, who was actually Norman Bates from Psycho, he actually played a role in it. Robert Forster, the great Robert Forster, who just passed away this year, or just a few months ago. He played one of the heroes. And funny, I think Maximilian Schnell or Shell, who was, I laugh because the name of this robot is Maximilian. I don't think there's any coincidence there, but the actor played the villain in it. There was a few more whose names are escaping me, but it was a really interesting look. The droid, I keep saying droid. It's not a droid, it's a robot. In fact, it's part of the... Bear me for a minute. Twist ties. I love twist ties, he said sarcastically. Oh, goodness. Maximilian, come on. Yeah, now the thing about... All right, let me just get this kind of packed back up in here. Now, unfortunately, this has what they call... I affectionately call alternative pieces. Like, it's not something that you just put together as one thing. Wait a second. I think there might be something else that I'm missing here. Huh. I don't know. I'll have to look here. But it looks as though it is actually missing something. Am I looking here and I'm not seeing? Unless... Oh, wait. Let me see. Oh, wait. I bet you... All right. Is it... Oh, yeah. It looks like... Okay. It looks like the... Okay. Part of the diorama is here, and the other part is from Vincent and Bob. So I will get some of this together now. Now, I'm going to put this over here for now. Excuse me. So this droid, I keep saying droid, this robot, Maximilian, okay, he came with multiple limbs, okay, and he had kind of a helicopter way about him. And the thing is that they would turn, then something else would come out, right? And then it would turn, and there'd be something else. So what I'm going to do, I'm looking to see here. Yeah, it looks like he had little digits that he could do tools with, right? But then you could undo. I think, can you pull some of these off? I don't think so. No, you can't. They're kind of interesting. But he was actually a floater. He didn't walk. That's why his legs aren't really... They kind of do some weird stuff. So you have this little stand, and you perch him on the stand. And then he has his head. Now, for some reason... Oh, yeah. I'll get a close-up of this, but he comes with two heads. Now, his heads are weird, because I don't want to give away the spoilers, but there's this moment at the end where the villain, Maximilian, or the actor Maximilian, and the robot Maximilian in the story merge. They merge. They just merge. They don't show it. They just kind of show them next to each other, and the next thing you know, you see this. You see the villain's eyes inside the droid. So they kind of merged as one. It was very weird, very bizarre. And to this day, I don't quite know what it meant. It's a little weird. So anyway, but he came with these. Now these are like basically spinning these spinning. He has these spinning like propeller blades. Okay, that's how certain characters met their doom. Just saying. If you want to know who, go see the movie. I don't want to like give too much away. And as I said, these things are kind of like they're such a way that they spin so that certain ones come up. You know, these are the blades closed, and then you can have a blade spinning. He also included some shock thing, which I think you can actually just attach to the arms, which I think is much better. That allows them to just kind of freeze. Like I'm one, you know, I have 5 extra pieces here, and I'm always worried. Like, unlike the Black Series Star Wars figures that have like a box that you can put them in, I don't like keeping these packages. I think that they're just, you know, there's no chance of putting it back for display purposes, so it's kind of a waste, but that's okay. So there he is, Maximilian. I'll get some close-ups there. I guess his head comes off, and then this head comes on, and he kind of floats off into the black hole. It's very strange. Very, very strange. And again, you might be saying, why on earth would you put them in the Star Wars collection? Some people might find that to be heresy. I don't believe it's heresy. I believe that these characters were certainly inspired by Star Wars. Let's face it. Now, just so you know, some people might look at this and say, so Disney put that on, huh? Now, you got to remember a little bit of something about Disney. Disney was not the Disney we know today. In fact, at that time, Disney was on the verge of collapse. They were on the verge of being bought out and split up. You know, the movies being sent over here, the theme parks here. There was no cruise line. There was no, you know, IPs like Star Wars. Well, ironically, they were trying to make their own Star Wars. In fact, I think that Disney might have turned down the opportunity to release it. I don't know if that's 100% true, but the point is that, you know, they kind of, when they realized the mistake they made, they kind of manufactured their own Star Wars and tried to, you know, capitalize on it. And sadly, it was not as successful as Star Wars. Nothing was. Nothing even came close. So it's just one of those things where, you know, you try things, but that's not uncommon. The minute something becomes successful, I mean, the next thing that ultimately happens is that everybody is looking for, you know, to cash in on that. So, and you know, and I want to say something. I don't have a problem with that. I've always felt like, you know, people get all mad, like all they're interested in is making money. I'm like, well, that might be somewhat true, but if it motivates people to try to make good entertainment that you can enjoy, then what's the problem? You know, you don't have to see it. It's not something that, you know, if you don't like something, you simply don't see it. You don't have to go see it. I'm sure a lot of people didn't go see the black hole. So I see no reason to be that concerned over something like that. Yeah, I'm looking at this. This is definitely the whole diorama. So I didn't even realize this when I bought it. I think I almost bought only Vincent and Bob, which I'll talk about in a moment. But here's the rest of the diorama. So there you go. Comes with some cool. Yeah. Now Vincent, like just like Maximilian, there, Vincent and Bob actually are they levitate. So as a result, you know, you have to be careful there with them. Let's see here. Got that. Did this bend? No, that bent. Okay. So let's talk about Vincent and Bob. I think you know what? Why talk about it? Here we go. USS Cygnus is perched precariously at the edge of a black hole. Okay, same exact reading as before, but the second paragraph says, these action figures of Vincent, Vincent, and Bob, or Bob, from the black hole feature multiple points of articulation and interchangeable parts, as well as Cygnus diorama. Okay, so Vincent stands for something, and I am not sure what it stands for. So I apologize. I cannot give you that information now. Anybody want to leave an answer in the comments? That would be really cool. All right, but you can see here when I get them all set up, and I'll throw some video grabs of them up close. You can see that they had one. The main character was Vincent, and he was voiced by Roddy McDowall of Planet of the Apes fame. And the other one, these are very staples of the 1970s. And the other one, Bob, was kind of the older model. Here is Vincent, and I always liked it. I always thought it was like a cool, his head goes in, his head goes out. Oh god, it can go in and goes out, and you can hide. It's like kind of like a turtle kind of way about him. I don't know if I'm doing this right. I want to make sure I don't break anything, but okay, we'll keep him up. Just such a cool thing. Now, they come with all other limbs as well. I'm gonna just put video clips on the side here so you can just see them all. Now, Bob, B-O-B, is like the earlier model, and he's one that was like the heroes of the story stumble across the ship, and in the ship you see Vincent's with the heroes, and they enter the ship and they look around and they find Bob, who's, you can see, has seen better days. So, and he's he was voiced by a wonderful character actor named Slim Pickens. If you don't know who Slim Pickens is, he is an actor famous for his roles in Dr. Strangelove, Blazing Saddles. He was Taggart, I think, in Blazing Saddles. So really cool stuff. Awesome character actor. Definitely a Westerner kind of cowboy character actor. So when you hear him talk as a robot, it was kind of funny almost a little bit jarring. But these guys come with a lot of pieces. I'm glad they come with a diorama, because this will allow me to I'll just display the pieces on the base of the diorama, just because I do not want to find it. One of the things I noticed, by the way, if you've been watching previous episodes, an earlier episode had me looking around for. I'm going to keep this over here to kind of help me build the diorama. Let me get that built first so I don't forget. One of the previous episodes had me actually that's interesting. What are these? I think I know what these are. Okay, we'll have to wait and see. One of the things that had me kind of going into my collection and just kind of redoing a few things, cleaning up a little bit. Well, one of the things I found was a box from even well before I even started the unboxing channel, and it just was filled with the stands that they came with, and it was just ridiculous of how much stuff was in this box, and I just felt bad because it's I almost don't like it. I don't like it when Hasbro or any toy company releases so much extra stuff, but I don't really have a way of keeping track of it all. So there's a nice little diorama. You can either do this one or you can flip it around and do this one. There's just some imagery of the background and stuff. All right, so now we got this. Wow. All right. So, this is. Oh, I see. Okay. So, these arms can come out and be replaced by, different kinds of tools, or you can cover them completely, like here, and just have a little closing of it. I think what I'm going to do is close them for the moment. It was a clever design, and in fact, it was really fun. If you look here, it looks like, it looks like you can pull out more things here. I think, right? Yep. So you can actually have the arms coming out, which I think I'm going to do. I'm going to have one arm coming out. Come on. All right. So maybe I'll just leave it like that. All right. So now it comes with extra feet, which is kind of weird. I don't know why it has extra feet, but okay. It comes with feet. What is it? Is there any place for that? I don't see any place for that. So we're just going to leave that alone. All right. So now we got to talk about how do we get this thing up and running on these little perches, because these guys definitely have to... All right, I think I see it. Yep, okay, so they actually... Now, these... Okay, I'm going to say this, okay? These are kind of weird because you have to perch these a certain way, and I don't know how they're going to stay up. Except, I think... All right, so we have that. Let's bend it a little more. Don't go down there. Stay with your stuff. I wonder... Yeah, that's weird. So that's a tricky tricky little thing to do there. Okay, I think I got it. So there he is. There's Vincent. And I'll put him up here. Okay, and then we got to take his little buddy here. Now his buddy has some options here, but I don't think you can do as much with him when it comes to his... I'm just not sure where these go. There's a lot of stuff here that I'm like, really? Where does that go? And I have no idea. Oh, I think I know what this is. I know what this is. Oh, gentle giant, you fool. So we have these little things like this because I bet you any amount of anything that you can actually build other dioramas. Right? You can connect these with another one of these and have like two together. Okay? Maybe they've created the other figures. Right now it looks like only Vincent and Bob. So I'm imagining that that's that. Now I wonder if I put... Yeah, no, that doesn't work. Okay. So let's just get this together for poor Bob, who's been laying there so patient all this time. All right. So we go back. I got to be careful. Some of these plastics... They don't always... Yeah, you see, they don't want to bend like they say they're going to bend. And I don't want to crack them. But at the same time... Come on there. All right. Let's do it that way. Okay. There's... Whoa! Okay. So Bob is going to be a little bit more of a challenge. Yeah, now I'll say this. I love that they can float, okay? And, with a little imagination. And the fact, I think some of this is actually good because they do kind of bob and wave back and forth. They don't just stand still, you know what I mean? So it's kind of nice. But at the same time, I'm a little bit concerned that I'm going to have to kind of turn him this way and this guy this way. I'm a little bit concerned in that I don't know. I don't know how long. I mean, let's face it. These are going to go on display for a long time, and I just don't know how long these two poor devils are going to be able to stay levitated and weighted on that plastic. So it's hard to tell. But I'm going to back these guys up just a little bit. Maximilian, Bob, and Vincent. Now, I would recommend that if you have no idea who these characters are, if you haven't even seen them in pop culture, do yourself a favor and see the film. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not Star Wars. It is very different. But it has beats to it, and it has similarities to it. And if you were born in the 70s and saw Star Wars and these other not Star Wars but trying to be Star Wars movies, you're going to find that they're similar in essence. And you can tell that Disney was really trying to capture the Star Wars magic. Storyline was a little weak, not, a little bit ethereal, a little bit out there. But these characters, okay, well, Maximilian never spoke, but he was a great villain robot. You could just tell. He just looked menacing. I mean, he even has like shades of Darth Vader, you know what I mean? Not that Vader was a robot, but you get the idea. He doesn't have to say anything. He's just scary, And as a kid, I remember being really scared of him. And then you got these two guys, Vincent and Bob, which are just adorable. Like, well before there was Babu Frick, and well before there were Porgs, and well before, and well, not well before, around the same time that there was R2-D2, they were definitely trying to capture that. And I think they were most successful with these two characters. Okay, I think they were most successful. There was a human quality to Vincent with the way he raised and lowered his head like he was scared. Like he kept shaking and stuff. And you kind of you felt for Bob because he was just beat up a lot by the other robots and stuff. So it was just a cool thing. So I think they're going to deserve a nice place amongst the Star Wars collection as a distant cousin, okay, and something that was inspired definitively by Star Wars. And I just think that's a really cool thing. Now, I don't do this too much, folks, so I thought this was a little bit special. And you can watch it. If you get Disney Plus, you can watch The Black Hole on Disney Plus, okay, for nothing more than its subscription. And as I said, it's got some great moments in it. It's got some scary moments in it. It is not as it's scarier than Star Wars, in my opinion. So just be careful with that if you're going to watch it with young kids. And the ending is bizarre. I'm not going to lie. It's just strange. But that's okay. So that'll do it for this week's episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out all my other videos, my playlists and all that other great jazz. And thank you and welcome to our new subscribers. We look very much forward to seeing you guys. Leave some comments. Let us know what you think. And check out all the other videos. You see, there's a lot of great stuff out there. And I've got a ton of new videos that I'll be putting out there. And hopefully, fingers crossed, you might be getting a Galaxy's Edge, a return to Galaxy's Edge video on Walt Disney World's opening day. So let's hope that everything goes well for that. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, may the Force be with you.